Well, I feel like we've discussed it all. I mean, at least we've got the bird's eye view here of what Strella is all about. We've covered the founder story. What a great founder story! I can only imagine what it was like when you guys were at that meetup and uh, through the sea of of people that you wouldn't want to work with. You found each other, and that worked out well. To working on the farm being such a solution for these Washington apple growers to the point where now we're able to expand Strella to all these other commodities. Um, the hiring that you've been able to do with the fundraising and the invaluable impact that you are having on retailers with this great new technology solution at grocery retail, which I imagine has to be a huge solution to them as well as it relates to labor. You know, I mean, they're able to lean on your technology to really help manage the labor as it relates to the merchandising in the fresh produce department, because unlike the aisle 9 in the grocery store where it's a bunch of packaged goods with the months of shelf life, merchandising and produce, it requires you're culling those cases every day. So this is a huge labor saving for an industry that is very labor strapped, when you consider the retailer's point of view too. um, so I'm so thrilled we were able to have this conversation. I learned a lot. I've become more adamant and confident in my statement that Strella is that missing link. Strella is closing that loop. I know that this is just the beginning of what is, a destiny that a ride you're already towards of just great success. I know best days are ahead, and you are going to change the produce industry and you're going to change the world, which is amazing. So with that, you all get final remarks before we close out this show. I'm thankful you came. You all can visit strellabiotech.com to check out more of their website, connect with all three of these folks on LinkedIn. So Shabazz, we'll start with you for any closing remarks.
Well, as you mentioned, Lori, we're here to stay. We're changing the world. We are conscious about sustainability. We want to make sure we are the missing link that provides and connects the farm to the fork, or farm to the crunch of a hand of a consumer who's biting into this juicy, most tastier apple that they can bite on. And, you know, yeah, I think that's the goal. Uh, give a fresh life experience to all of our consumers.
We're passionate people with big goals, and we do want to change the world and improve produce and health and profitability from the growers to the retailers. That being said, with a large, lofty, change the world kind of mission, we also really understand that tomorrow has to happen. And there's a bridge between here and the future. So if there's anyone out there who thinks it'd be a great partnership with us, we'd love to have that conversation. We definitely pride ourselves in making scalable solutions that aren't painful. I think a lot of solutions in the produce industry are very ops heavy, a lot of implementation, a lot of changing process. We don't do any of that. We're pretty seamless. And so, if you're afraid of, oh, this is probably going to be a lot of work to get going, that's not the case. We really focus a lot on making things easy. So that's my closing remarks: is innovation doesn't have to be hard or costly.
When we talk about, the food waste, carbon emissions being greater than that of all U.S. transportation combined, we sometimes like to point fingers or assign blame to certain elements. And I think the reality is that every single individual player within the supply chain is doing their utmost best job that they can to reduce shrink, because it's not profitable and it's certainly not something that benefits the industry as a whole. And so our solution and our thinking is around what happens when we unite everybody in the supply chain. What happens if we take some of these siloed segments that may or may not have spoken to each other in the past and work together towards a common goal, which is getting the consumer that perfect piece of produce every single time they go to the grocery store. And so that's kind of where we see ourselves fitting in, as being the guardian angels, if you will, of produce as it moves from hand to hand, so that when we do ultimately reach our end goal, our end consumer, they get the best experience we can provide them.
The Guardian Angels, focused on the fresh life. I just love it. I feel like we need to make t-shirts. But I have so enjoyed this episode. I believe in your business, your brand, your impact. I believe in the three of you. I'm honored that you could join us today. Everyone, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been a very informative episode. We didn't even get to any of like our banter other than, kind of calling them all smarty pants, but I think it's obvious that they all are. These are brilliant people behind a brilliant solution. Don't forget to subscribe to the Produce Moms podcast on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and any preferred podcast platform. Check out the Produce Moms on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Special thanks to everyone involved with the Produce Moms podcast, my amazing team. Stay tuned till next time. Hey everybody, you asked, we listened. So I know that you all love our dog food recipes on theproducemoms.com. Together with our brand partners at Sage Fruit, we have actually published a dog food cookbook. So visit theproducemoms.com/ebook and you can download your free copy of the dog food cookbook presented by the Produce Moms and Sage Fruit.